Hello, and welcome to episode 236 of The Joy of Coding. Happy New Year. I'm Mike Conley. It's 2021, the first episode of the new year. I hope it's a good one. Let's, both the episode and the year. Let's get started. We're going to be hacking on some Firefox stuff today. I'm so glad you're here. Let's not delay any further. Let me quickly share my screen here. Okay, so today is January 6th. Oh, that's the wrong year, 2021. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. It is, kind of, I open every episode with that phrase, and it's true this year, like last year. None of this stream has been super planned. I kind of know what I want to do, but I could get stuck, I could get sidelined, I could get distracted. We might fix some stuff, we might not. Who knows? We're capturing software development in the raw, so I'm, if things go awry, that's okay. I will be your tour guide through the depths of despair as we deal with problems, or through victory. I'll be your tour guide through victory if we fix some bugs. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the agenda that we're looking at here on my screen is something that you have access to. Woo! Why did that just happen? If you are new to the stream and you're not familiar, the agenda is where, you can click on links and you can follow along as I go on. And as I work on things, I'll probably update the agenda. It will synchronize in the background, and then you can reload the page and, follow along. And if you're watching this in the future, the document is out there. To find the agenda on YouTube, check the video description. If you're on Air Mozilla, it'll be somewhere in the video description, wherever that is. And if you're watching this on Twitch, I'm going to drop this into the Twitch chat and the Matrix chat right now. Agenda. Right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is an episode guide linked to, linked from here in the agenda. You should check it out if you're curious about all the things that have happened in previous episodes. Maybe you want to know about, what I covered in a particular episode. Maybe you want to know what I covered in this episode before I go into it, and you're in the future, because right now the episode guide hasn't been written. But if you are in the future, or you are a time traveler, you can go to the episode guide, follow this link, and then you can see what I talked about today and what we did. The episode guide is completely viewer driven by people just like you. If you're interested in contributing, there's a contributing guide here in the agenda, as well as the links to the repository and a guide for creating pull requests that Smurf D, our most prolific contributor to the episode guide, recommends. The other thing I want to mention before we get started, two things rather. The first thing is that if you are in the Twitch chat right now, you might have noticed that there's a bot called JOC Bridge Bot that is chatting a bit. That's because I have, over the holidays, set up a bridge between Twitch chat on my channel and Matrix, the live hacking channel, where, a lot of the back channel conversation has been taking place. And that means that the two worlds, there's like this little bridge between them now. So JOC Bridge Bot is doing the work of passing messages back and forth. So if you add something inside of the Twitch chat, it will mention it in the Matrix chat, and if you mention something in the Matrix chat, it will mention it in the Twitch chat, etc. And who knows, maybe we'll end up having more different rooms that we have to punch holes through. But for now, Twitch and Matrix are now talking to one another, and I'm able to pay attention to both, which is great. That's the first thing. The second thing is that Emilio, one of my colleagues, Emilio works on the platform team. I think technically he works on layout, but Emilio is really prolific. He'll hack on all sorts of stuff. He's a very solid Mozilla hacker, and you should check out some of these videos he's been posting. He's been posting himself live hacking on Firefox, just like how I'm doing it, and it's really great. He's got 2 episodes in the can. He's just getting started. You should go to his channel, let him know that you like what you're seeing, encourage him to do more. I'm learning just by watching him. He's a fantastic developer, so you should check it out. Sure Shack 55 says, "Did I disable YouTube comments? Pass us link." I don't have YouTube comments on my YouTube live stream. After the video has been posted, you are able to comment, but during the live stream, because I don't pay attention to the comments in the on YouTube, at least not during the live stream, I don't have them enabled. If you want to communicate with me, you should check out this link on how to connect to the live hacking room on Matrix. Although you just chatted with me and presumably twitched, so you were talking about Emilio, right? Let me send you the link to Emilio's Twitch channel as well. Apparently it's twitch.tv/Emilio. Let's double check and make sure that's who we think it is. Wow, I'm really zoomed in here. Let me zoom out. Is this who I think it is? I don't know. I don't know if this is the Emilio that we think it is. ADTHE. Yeah, that doesn't sound like Emilio. I don't think this is Emilio. I think what you want to do is you want to follow these links in the agenda to his YouTube channel. I don't know if he streams to Twitch yet, but I don't believe he is the Emilio on Twitch. I could be wrong. All right, what are we working on today? Well, something that we were starting to tackle last year in the last episode, if we take a look at the past episodes, December 16th, we were looking at title case versus sentence case. And we're trying to make it so that we have title case in the menu bars and sentence case in the app menu. And I have a bunch of patches that are doing things like, someone has passed the YouTube channel for, there we go. Emilia's YouTube channel link has now been placed in the chat. I'm going to just drop that in my agenda. I'm just going to put that there. So the idea is that in the native menus in Mac OS and in Windows, if you have the menu bar enabled, we want to use title case inside of these items up here. Title case meaning that pretty much every word is capitalized, like new private window, NPW is they're capitalized there. But in the app menu, we're going to try and converge on using sentence case, where only brand names or proper nouns are capitalized. The first letter will be capitalized, but logins and passwords, the P in passwords would not be capitalized. And that sounds simple, but what's particularly interesting is that some of these strings are shared in different places. And so we need to be actually really careful. If you change a string in one place, you have to make sure that it's behaving appropriately in the other place. And if they're not behaving appropriately, we have to fork the string so that, for example, if we have this new window string is shared between here and the file menu, and if we wanted new window to be title case inside of the file menu, but sentence case over here, then we have to fork the string effectively. The good news is that we have a lot of tools in place to prevent us from having to retranslate all of these strings. We've been doing this migration away from our old model of doing strings and localization in the browser from this sort of hacky DTD properties mechanism that is kind of an abuse of HTML entities. We're transitioning away from that over to something called Fluent. If you're not familiar with Fluent, Project Fluent, I believe this is the website. Yeah, Fluent is the localization system that we've built into Firefox, and we're transitioning slowly but surely to this system. In fact, if you go to arewefluentyet.com, you can see our progress. It's not very quick transition, but it's happening. Like if you look at this graph, I don't know how hopefully the colors are hopefully the colors are accessible, but basically we have this block down here that is sort of this magenta, then we have this blue up here. The magenta are these DTD old school strings, and the blue ones are these properties strings. The difference between the two is that DTDs are generally used inside of our markup. Properties are used in our our JavaScript, so you dynamically access them and do things with JavaScript with those strings. And so right from the very beginning in, I think, Q1 of 2018, it was like all of the strings in Firefox were properties or DTDs. And then right around the beginning of Q2, this green block starts showing up. And green represents fluent strings. And so what we're hoping to see over time is this green kind of overtake everything. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing blue and magenta kind of shrink as green overtakes. And right now we have probably over, if we could get the, how do I get those numbers to show up again? It was showing me numbers a second ago. Here. Yeah, here we go. Right now we have 5,057 Fluent strings, 5,285 property strings, only 494 DTD strings. So we're almost done the burn down of DTDs. But basically, during all this transition from one string translation format to another, we've built a bunch of tools to help us migrate the strings without making our localization community much, which is like mainly made up of volunteer contributors. We don't want to make them do a bunch of retranslation of strings they've already translated. So instead, what we've done is we've built migration tools to allow us to take the old string definitions and translate them to the new format without requiring the volunteer localizers to do anything really. So that's what I'm taking advantage of whenever I fork these strings. I reuse the Fluent migration stuff. And if Fluent is something that interests you, this is something that you can actually use on your own projects. Fluent is not Firefox specific. It is a translation or localization system that you can use on your own websites. You can use it in your own web applications, your own desktop applications. It's a framework that we have developed kind of in isolation, but is now baked into Firefox. But you can use it yourself in your own projects. And it's got a really nice syntax that allows you to do a lot of things that maybe you didn't realize you need to do, or if you're going to translate your application into different languages and make it accessible and usable and understandable in different locales. And if you want to know more, go to projectfluent.org. Let me just drop a link to that in here. Project Fluent and arewefluentyet.com. which tracks our transition away from DTD and properties to Fluent. So there's been a bunch of traffic inside of the chat. We found Emilio's link. Someone makes a joke about using Pascal case. Ha 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 ha. No, not Pascal case. The graph seems legit when it starts from 0. Did you say what DTD stands for? I didn't say what DTD stands for. I believe it's document type definition? DTD. Document type definition. Boom! Got it the first time. So we basically, we kind of shoehorned this translation system into our Zool and HTML code by using DTDs to set strings so that you can define these entities. Like, let me find an example. Actually, I mean, I'll just find a DTD file and show you what I'm talking about. We still have a bunch left. Let's see here. Let's look at browser.dtd. So yeah, this is how how we have for the longest time defined strings inside of Firefox. So we'd have this. It's a key value scheme essentially. There's a bunch of boilerplate on like defining the entity. There's like really weird white space conventions in here. Like there's no convention. It's all over the place. But that's because it's showing its age. But basically, you've got a key, and then you've got a value. And inside the code, let's use this one for example. So this is the key FXA menu account label. We can see it being used here. And it's used like you would use like the, the NBSP non-breaking space thing that you might see in HTML. Or less than or greater than. That's sort of the same scheme here. These are entities, HTML entities. And what we're doing is the DTDs allow us to define our own. And so we just, you do the ampersand, the key, and then the semicolon. And that is what's causing our HTML parser. There's some point within our parsing code where it goes, oh, this is an entity I need to translate. It'll go get the DTD file and go get the value and inject it directly into the markup before the layout or DOM parsing engine even gets to it, I think. And then we load the DTDs at the very beginning. I'm pretty sure, where do we do that? I think in this case we have an include file where we include them all. but it looks like this. Yeah, browser doc type. So this is the include file that says, hey, we are bringing in this DTD file. We're defining a bunch of entities. Check out the contents of this file while you're parsing. So that's how that works. And if you're curious about the Fluent migration stuff that we've been using, because who knows, we may or may not get to that point today, but this is the technique we're using to transition ourselves away. HTML entities. Transition ourselves away from DTDs to Fluent. We write these Python scripts effectively that's run on our repository of localizations. Okay, so forking strings. We have started to do that. I've actually got a patch in flight. I think one just landed today, if I am not mistaken, or it's in auto land right now, where I have forked some strings from. I've got this bug where I've already landed a bunch of patches where I'm doing all of the forking of the strings first before I move everything to sentence case, because I want to do all of the sentence case all at once. And the reason for that is you don't want to do it piecemeal. I might not make the end of the release cycle, for example, and I don't want to have some entities in sentence case and some, I shouldn't have said entities, some strings in sentence case and some not, and have that go in a release. I think that would look pretty awful. So we want to make sure we kind of do it all at the same time, at least in a particular area. So I'm doing the forking first, and then I'll do the sentence case all at the same time. So the part where I'm at is, let me show you the patch I've got so far. Let me build, let me pump up the font so you can see what I'm writing. I'm very curious to know if people find the JOC, the Joy of Coding bridge bot between Matrix and Twitch. This is my first time outside of just sort of my own personal testing that I've used it during a stream. So I'm curious, is it useful? Is it helpful? I know the vast majority of the chatting is occurring inside of Twitch, but hopefully this allows people to participate on both sides. So let me know what you think about it. Is it noisy? Do you want me to just shut it down? Let me know. One of the things I did hear from feedback from the most previous episode, by the way, people seem to really love the dog eating the sandwich. That was a big hit. Dog loved it for sure. Gus is his name, and he really enjoyed that sandwich action. We made sandwiches again today. I don't know if that's just a thing we do on Wednesdays. I haven't really paid attention, but we were very careful to make sure that the dog did not get the sandwich. So hopefully he abides by that. I ate my sandwich. Hopefully Em's eating her sandwich. Okay, so let's take a look at the patch. So we've got our app menu here, and notice most of the strings are now in sentence case. So for example, we've got new window, new private window. Over here under file menu, we've got new window, new private window still in title case. And if we look at the context, or the doc context menu, we still have new window, new private window using title case. So we're doing the right thing so far. We had to fork those strings and it worked properly, and I wrote the migrations, and that's all working. Crumpled Wings says Matrix shows Matrix, Twitch shows IRC. Yeah, that's true. And the reason for that is because, yeah, the way I'm communicating with Twitch is over the IRC protocol. This is something that Twitch offers as a way, it's very interesting that's their kind of their API to their Twitch to the Twitch chat. At least that was the one I was able to find. So I'm using a mechanism called MatterBridge to bridge the two. And that's how MatterBridge works. They say, oh, if you're going to connect to Twitch, well, use the IRC mechanism. So anyways, we've got our menu here. Now, it's not perfect. There are certain parts of this that are not in sentence case yet. The web developer is one of them. Web developer has a bunch of stuff that's still in title case. The other one is the help menu. Help menu is also in title case still. Now, what's interesting about the help menu, and this is where I'm hoping to focus on today, what's interesting about the help menu is that it copies its contents from the help menu that's defined over here. So when you open up the help menu, what it does is it scans this help menu over here, creates a clone of each of the items, and then injects them into the panel. For better or for worse, that's how it works. And so creating this fork is going to be interesting because basically I have to tell the code that's cloning to use a different localization mechanism for the items that go in here. Basically use a different localization key because it's using Fluent in the help menu over here, and I need to use Fluent over here as well, but I want to use a slightly different key because we're going to be forking the strings. The other thing I want to do is, because there's now all of a sudden this relationship between the two and this convention of, okay, well, if you have a string over here, you're going to also need to have a similar string in sentence case for the panel menu. I'm going to write a test, an automated test, to make it really hard for people to accidentally introduce a new item over here without introducing a string with a proper, like a menu item with a properly formatted string for the help menu in the panel. Sorry, I keep going to what's new. I meant in the help menu. Evil Pie says, why not change the other menu as well? I'm not sure what you mean. You mean web developer? Or did you mean why not change help to use some mechanism? I'm not sure what you mean, Evil Pie. I'm happy to answer your question. Just let me know what you mean. In the meantime, I've been working on writing this test. And the way this test works is it's going to open up the help menu on both sides, the menu pop-up, and it's going to open up the subview. Now, it's not actually going to open up the menu pop-up. It can't actually do that, but it's going to simulate opening it. And that's because we often populate these menus lazily, and so I have to tell it, hey, you've been opened, so that it gives itself its contents. And then what I'm going to do is scan through. Oh, the question from Evil Pie is, why not use lowercase in the top menu bar as well? Great question. And the answer for that, why aren't we using sentence case up here, is because of platform conventions. So the macOS style guide, as well as the way that conventions seem to be for GTK and for macOS, the style guide and the HIG or whatever you want to call it, calls for title case in the menu bars. Windows is an interesting case because Windows has really started to move away from the menu bars. You don't really see them in modern Windows applications, at least not ones from Microsoft. And Microsoft, you can kind of consider them, the software that they make is kind of like following the de facto Microsoft HIG standards or guidelines. And it's very difficult to find Windows applications, newer Windows applications that are using the old school file edit view menu. That's because they transition away from that. They started to do that transition away from that when they started introducing the ribbon back in like Windows 7 Vista era. And then they've been moving further and further and further away. You can still find it in the old applications. You'll find it in Notepad, for example. And they still use title case there. And when we use the menu bar on Windows, which we don't show by default, but users can turn it on, we're going to abide by the same convention on the platform, which is to use title case. So that's why we're having to fork. Hopefully that answers your question. So now what we're going to do is we're going to keep working on this test. That was my plan. So let me walk you through how the test works so far, and we'll keep going. So I started this test this morning, and I haven't actually run it yet. I don't even know if it works. That's what we're going to be doing today. Working on this test, making it work. It's probably going to fail right out the gate because I'm doing this in kind of like the test first. I wouldn't call it test-driven development, but I guess it's test-driven development. I don't always do TDD, but in this case, I'm writing the test before I do any of the string forking and stuff. And the way this test works is we start by opening up the panel menu, the app menu rather. We set up a thing to make sure that the panel menu is closed when the test exits. That's always a good idea. And then I have the panel menu go to the help section, and that will cause both menus to actually populate themselves because by accessing the help menu, it's going to communicate with the other help menu and say like, oh, populate yourself so I can clone you. That's why I comment here, showing the help panel should be enough to get the menu pop-up to populate itself. And then we wait until the help menu has finished transitioning. And now what we're going to do is we're going to scan through each of the items in the help menu, and we're going to I need to show you a piece of code. So this is the code inside of the panel menu, whose job is to like clone the items. Sorry, there's more chat going on. What's the JS path I'm editing? The JS path I'm editing right now is this test I've added, which is, it's kind of hard for me to show you, I think. Is this going to work if I... Is this working? I can't tell. This is the path. Oh, it's all fuzzy. It gets pixelated. But it's browser components customizable UI test. And then I've added a new test called browser help panel cloning. I don't know if that was helpful. But this is the code inside of the panel, the app menu panel, whose job it is to do the cloning. And it's scanning. It builds the help menu. It tells the menu pop-up, okay, build yourself. And then it accesses the elements. First it cleans itself out every time, it seems, which is interesting. So every time you open it, it's rebuilding itself. And then it clones for each of the items inside of the help menu. It gets the elements, all of the menu item elements, creates a document fragment, skips any hidden nodes, which I think that's a fine optimization, I guess. And then it creates a toolbar button, because that's what we use inside of the app menu pop-ups. We use toolbar buttons in here because technically this isn't a menu pop-up. I keep opening what's new. This isn't a menu pop-up. This is a panel. And so these are toolbar buttons for reasons that are kind of legacy. And then for each item in the help menu, we create a toolbar button, we clone a bunch of attributes, and then we also set an ID to be app menu underscore plus the original node ID. So that's an interesting thing to note. And then it sets a class on it, and then it appends it. In particular, it seems to clone the label, which is going to be that might be a bit of a problem, because the label is what is set up. If we look at the definition of the help menu, so let's look at the definition of the help menu. Build help menu. The markup for help menu is hang on. Let me show you the markup for the help menu. Here it is. So it's actually using data L10N IDs. And data L10N ID, that's the Fluent mechanism. Remember Fluent? We were talking about that earlier. That's how it works to do translation. Data L10N ID is now our key. And then what happens is, if we take a look at the definition of that key inside of the Fluent file, it says, oh, for an element that has this data L10N ID, set the label attribute to be this. And here it's doing like interpolation. It's saying brand shorter name, which in this case would be Nightly or Firefox, plus help. And then it sets the access key attribute as well. And so what's happening is that the code over here in panel UI is copying the label after Fluent has done the injection in the setting of the attributes. And we don't want that, because the label is going to be the wrong string. What we want instead is for the help menu over here to get a similar data L10N ID, but slightly different. We're going to use this convention where we take the L10N ID, like menu help product, and instead we're going to prefix this with the word app. So it will be app menu help product. And we're going to tell the element, hey, translate yourself using that. That's the plan. That's my plan anyways. Just check the Twitch chat and the live hacking. I'm really glad this... Danny Colin made a user style for SearchFox. You should check this out. I'm going to add this to the agenda. Ooh. Looks like Danny Cullen kind of rearranged things so that you can, instead of having the search at the top, you get it along the side, and then all of the menu items are along the left. So presumably what that means is that you just kind of have, you don't have things spread out, at the top and along the side. You've got it all in this left column. That's really interesting. That's what we love about the web. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to put a link to that. If you happen to use SearchFox and Stylus, because that's the add-on you need in order to use this, we're going to add this. Danny Cullen. Save. L10N. Yeah, sorry, that's a great question. ShearShack55 asks, L10N equals localization. That's exactly correct. Let me put that under glossary, actually. This is a really, one of those really inaccessible acronyms that we use. We're so lazy that we take the word localization and we count the number of characters in between. There are 10 L10N, and so that's what we use as our acronym for localization. There are similar ones like A11Y for accessibility, and then there's one that's I18N for internationalization. These are all horrible if you don't know what they mean. Like, this looks like Leet Speak. It looks like lion in Leet Speak. This one looks like alley, and this one looks like Elune or something. I don't know, in Leet Speak, but it's not. It's us being lazy, and it's really, really inaccessible. K8S, yeah, that's Kubernetes. I don't use that, but other people do, and that's what they use for the short term for it. It's really inaccessible. The irony of, yeah, Danny Cullen is like, irony, you're absolutely right. This is a very inaccessible acronym. Okay. So what we've got in the test is that we are looking for all of the app menu items. We're relying on that convention that app menu underscore is what is going to be used as the prefix for each item. So we're going to make sure that the cloned app menu help item exists. That'll work. And then what we need to do is we need to make sure that the let help menu item L10N ID equals help menu pop-up item get attribute data L10N ID, and we're going to say that assert let app menu help item L10N ID equal app menu help item dot get attribute data L10N ID, and then what we're going to do is we're going to assert that they are not equal, or even better, we're going to say that equal app menu help item L10N ID is equal to app it's probably easier instead of doing that template string app plus help menu item L10N ID, and I'll write here there is a convention in the cloning to use the same L10N ID but to prefix it with app for the app menu case. And so now we'll say, okay, strings, app menu string has app prefix. And now the last step is to make sure that it has the right that there's a value. So that's the last step, is to double check that you can. This is a thing that one of the advantages of Fluent over DTDs is that when you have a missing DTD string, or like maybe the formatting is wrong in the DTD or something, you'll get what's called the yellow screen of death. The yellow screen of death on Firefox looks like this. Let's see. You'll see something like this. It'll say it's like XML parsing error, like a bad entity or something. Unexpected, what is it? Parser state, mismatch tag. It'll give you some kind of like undefined entity error in the yellow screen of death. And that's like a horrible user experience, and something that by moving away from DTDs, we finally put the yellow screen of death to bed. You know, we put it away, because like once you hit this, the user experience is like, oh, this software is absolutely broken. There's zero recovery. Think of it like the blue screen of death on Windows, but it's for an application. It's the yellow screen of death in Firefox. So by moving to Fluent, we are bypassing that, because whenever you have a missing string, instead of falling over and showing this like horrible yellow screen of death, what we do is we show the L10N ID as the value, and we send an error to the console. So the user experience is significantly better. We have not broken the user interface. The labeling is all wrong. Like, it'll look like a garbage label, but at least the browser will still be somewhat functional. So the advantage there is that the browser is still usable. The disadvantage is that it's much easier for us to accidentally not include a string and not realize it, because all of our automated testing will still work. Like, if you forget a string, a DTD, you will not pass test automation. Like, it will just, because you'll get the yellow screen of death, and the test automation will go like, nope, this browser's broken, and you will get bounced out of Autoland. But if you land a Fluent change, and maybe you got the key value wrong, it's not guaranteed that continuous integration will detect it, because I don't think that there's anything that checks for missing Fluent string errors. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And that means that, what am I saying here? What I want to do in this test is make sure that an actual string exists. And the way we're going to do that is by using the L10N, the localization API, rather. So localization API works like this. We're probably going to want to get rid of this. Want to get rid of this to do. Eventually, whenever we update the panel UI code to not clone the label, but rather clone the data L10N ID with our prefix, we can then remove this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say app menu, G app menu strings, and then the actual URI is, I believe, appmenu.ftl. Was it browser/app menu? And then what we can do is we can let strings equal G app menu strings. I'm going to need this prefix again, so I'm going to factor this out. Let app menu help. Oh, actually, it will be this. So I'm going to do G app menu strings. What is it? There's a function that I have to call called format messages sync. I believe that's what it is. There's not a different one, is there? Format values sync. Format values sync. How does that work? Let me just see if I can see an example of that being used. Format values sync. Oh, in this case, we're going to be using attributes. Like, if you take a look at the help menu, It's not like a one-to-one. The ID is not mapping to like a single string, because that can happen. There are some that are just single strings, like I don't know if they're in any in this case, but you can say like menu help not deceptive equals a particular string. But in this case, we have attributes, and the attributes are label and access key. So we can't use format value sync. We got to use format values sync, or format messages sync rather, because we're using attributes. So we'll do g add menu strings format messages sync, and then you tell it, what's the format here? You tell it the IDs of the things that you're formatting. So in this case, oh, it's an array. Okay. I guess so you can do them in bulk. ID is going to be the app menu help item L10N ID. And then what you get back is an array, and hopefully, if the array is, let's see, what's the best way to do this? Assert equals strings dot. It will always be greater than 0, even if the item is empty or the ID doesn't match. What we need to do is look at the first item. That's what it is. Let strings assert okay strings should have found strings for the app menu help item. Okay. That's what we're going to do for our test for now. Let's run it. It's going to fail, but I want to run it and just see what happens. So mock, I think I have to do a build. And while I'm waiting for that build, I'm going to just check the chat here. Let's see. When you do mock run, does Firefox create a fresh profile, or does it live reload the script you have edited? So SureShack55, when you do mock run, what it's doing is it will use a profile that it created inside of your object directory, which is where Firefox, the build mechanism, is putting all of the built resources. So it will create a new profile on the fly after you build. Or actually, maybe it's the first time you run it. Mock run will try and create you a profile if one doesn't exist in your object, and it will continue to use that one until either you blow away that object directory, or you tell it to create a new profile. I think you can do that somehow, but it will use that in perpetuity. And if you need to blow it away, I think like mock clobber will get rid of your entire object directory. But you can also find your object profile if you, where would mine be? So I think it'll be something like dist pro, no, where will it be? Profiles. Testing under. No, I'm wrong. Okay, well, we're going to find this out when I say mock run, hopefully. Let's see what it says. So it says, this is the important part here. Oh, okay, so there's a temp directory under my object, and in there's something called profile default. So that's where the profile directory is. And if you delete that, if you just clear out that folder, then you can reset the profile. Okay, so here's our build. And I didn't actually want to run that. I wanted to run the test. So Moki test, browser-based content. Oh, actually, our test isn't there. Our test is components, customizable UI browser, help panel cloning. SureShack asks, are there any tutorials on how Firefox UI and C++ code work? Probably in past videos. Trying to think. I mean, to a certain extent. Oh yeah, so this is, we expected it to fail, but I don't think it failed where I expected it to. If you go to Air Mozilla, you might be able to find some interesting assets on like how the code works. Well, like one place that I would highly recommend going to is the source docs to, you know, read through various components are documented. But also there are some old documents on like Firefox, XPCOM. You read these old documents, kind of give you a sense of how C++ layer talks to JavaScript. Let's see. XPCOM documents, Firefox source docs. Whoops. So I'll put them in here in the agenda and sync. Hopefully that helps. What does that foreground do? It means that the command is telling Firefox, try and don't open in the background, open in the foreground. Like bring yourself as the foreground application if possible. Otherwise, I think you can tell it to background itself so that it's running in the background. Okay, so where do we fall over? Can't access the property add event listener on the subject being null. And that happens after we check that the panel is closed to begin with, which I presume happens here. Oh, app menu help subview. I go get element by ID, panel UI help view. That's going to fall over if this element doesn't exist. Whoops, I'm using a private browsing window. I should use here. And it's possible that this isn't loading immediately because it's in a template. I wonder if that's what's going on. And if that's the case, we have to cause the loading to occur. We have to force. Yeah, it's inside a template. That's why. So it means that the item's now actually in the DOM. This is a performance optimization. So we have to actually open the help menu. I think we can do that by doing it this way. Could be wrong, but let's see. It's a class name, not ID. Oh, did I get that wrong? Panel UI help view. Well, no, it looks like an ID. That's an ID. Okay, good. This is what I wanted. So the reason why what I did, that reordering, the way it worked was I have to wait until the help menu actually like gets created before I can access the subview. Before the element actually exists because it's created lazily. So what I do is I tell the panel, hey, show the help menu, which causes it to not only get it, like create itself and populate. Like that's what it does. It creates itself and then it populates itself. And then I can access it. And then I tell it, okay, well, wait until you've started showing yourself. You've finished showing yourself. So that works. And now we're falling over because of the strings being missing. And that's good. That's what we wanted. So what do I want to do instead now? Let's go to panelui.js. Build help menu. So instead of cloning the label, let's clone the data let's not clone the data alt and ID. Let's actually remove the label. Prefix the get the L10N ID. There's a convention. How am I going to explain this? We have app menu specific strings for the help menu. By convention, we use the same data L10N IDs as the menu pop-up strings, as the menu pop-up elements, but with app as a prefix. Okay, so let L10N ID equal app plus node.get attribute data L10N ID, and then we'll set the attribute L10N data L10N ID to be L10N ID. So let's first build that, and then let's check to see if the menu shows its strings still. That's very important. It's actually not going to show any strings because none of those strings exist. It's just going to show the IDs, I think. Let's see. Yeah, no strings. It doesn't show the IDs. It just shows nothing. And we should probably have like we didn't see the yellow screen of death, which is good. But what we get instead is like, hey, we've got all these missing translations. So we should still see a bunch of errors there. What I'm going to do just to make sure that it's working properly, though, is I'm going to get rid of the app prefix just for a sec. So what we should end up seeing the strings this time. So I got myself a proper coffee grinder over the holidays, and I've been making myself cold brew. And I just finished the last of it. One thing about cold brew, if you make a big jug of it, this is the very last of it, the very last cup, you get a lot of sediment at the bottom. I think I basically just drank sand. Whew. Okay, so this is correct. We got these strings showing up. So everything's working as expected. Now what I can do is I can get rid of this as well. I'm going to go through, make sure the cloned atchers are actually cloned. For let atcher of cloned atchers, let help menu pop-up item, let help menu pop-up item atcher equal help menu pop-up item to get attribute atcher, let app menu help item atcher equal app menu help item dot get attribute atcher, assert equal help menu pop up item. You know what? I don't know if we need these two variables. We probably just do it this way. I don't think we actually need the two variables. And then I'll say attribute was cloned. And then make sure that Prettier likes it. And now let's run the test. The sand really makes you wake up. Yeah, for sure. It's a that's where the energy is. That's where the fast speed is. Okay, so the strings we haven't set up yet. So I'm going to actually remove this part of the test. Instead, test the other things. Misspelled equal. Did I misspell? Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh, shit. All right, bail out. Equal. Thank you. That's why I love you all. Thank you for catching me. Okay, on command attribute was cloned. Really? Why wasn't it cloned? This was on migration utils show migration wizard. Do we do something special here? Oh, we skipped the hidden nodes. If help menu pop up item dot hidden continue. Let's see if that addresses some of it. Okay, now different, same. So a bunch of them are the same, but some of them are different. So let's log which ones we are checking. Info checking. App menu help ID. We fail right here. We're checking on command help import from another browser. Menu bar. This item. Here it pulls the on command from the command itself. How's that work? Command, and then it gets the on command. Oh, it's getting the command. Hang on. On command attribute was cloned. Help menu. So the help menus. Huh. Huh. All right. Well, let's try something here. Let's set a breakpoint here. Okay, so the help menu is now trying to populate itself. Which node are we looking at here? We're at node. What's the name of the node? Block node open help, and the one we care about is help menu help import from another browser, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to continue, add condition, node.id equals that. What? Hang on a second. Come on now. Node. All right, well, I will. What? All right, that was very confusing. Let's do that again. It did not behave the way I expected. And the browser has shut down. So let's do that. Let's do that again. Okay. Let's take a look at each node. What? Why aren't we breaking here? Debugger. JavaScript, why aren't we breaking? Okay. Continue. Okay, good. Good. Let's take the block. Open tour. Import from another browser. Okay, this is the one we want. So let's take a look at what we've got in our item, in our node. Node.command. Node.onCommand. Or node.get attribute on command. Node get attribute command. And then what do? We create the Zool thing. We're gonna set the attribute. And then it bailed out on me. The node. We went back up to the top here. What is going on? Okay. Let's see here. Setting attribute name to we're going to old school logging. No, not with the JS debugger. I do not trust the JS debugger anymore. Not right now, not for this situation. Okay. Setting attribute on command. Check for middle click, key to open help, open tour page, command to command, import from another browser. Okay. So we update the command, but for some reason, the command attribute is now command. What is setting the command attribute on that node? How do I check that? Oh, by calling command by setting command. Could that be it? Custom elements, set command, setting command to More printf. Yeah, seriously, nothing shameful about printf, especially when your debugger is behaving strangely. Yeah, it could be not the problem with the debugger, but with how I'm using it. That could very well be. Command attribute was cloned. On command attribute was cloned. So where is this migration utils thing coming from? Here, like, it looks like command is never cloned anywhere else. It's always just the empty string. Do we need to clone? Help menu. Let's see when it occurs. On command after insertion. Or is it the on command? It's on command. Get attribute on command. Well, that might explain why I was maybe searching for the wrong thing a couple minutes ago. So something might be setting on command. View item add element. Oh, could this be it? No. On cast clone. So what did I tell it to write? I said on command after insertion. Where is that? After insertion. So yeah, after insertion, the on command attribute gets added somehow. I don't know why that would be. Something tells me that there's something in like Gecko Land that's doing this for me, and I don't understand what it would be. Entry point help menu. Command help import from another browser. Is there only one command in here? Command equals under help. Under help. Actually, no, this is an interesting question. So let's see if I get one of these items right now in this browser. Command navigator new tab. So this is with ID. Yeah, document get element. Oh, there's too many. Too many errors. All right, get element by ID. Okay, get attribute command. Now get attribute on command. Interesting. Now what about the help item? Menu help import from other browser. What? Hold on, do I have that wrong? I think it's actually just this. Yeah. Command get attribute on command is blank. Let's create a Zool button. Test button equal, we're going to create that. Test button set attribute command. We're going to say it's this. Oh, command. Didn't mean to unfold you there. Oh, there's a lot there. Okay. Command help import from another browser. Test button dot get attribute on command. It's blank. Now what if I insert the button into the DOM? Document dot body append child test button. Ah. Aha. That's what did it. So it's like magically whenever you insert an element that has a command attribute, it will copy the on command. It's very interesting. On insertion, if it was created dynamically. Now, is that true for any element? So instead of a toolbar button, let's create a div, or let's create just a what else takes a command? Let's create just a menu item. Nope. Okay. So something about toolbar buttons. What about a toolbar item? Okay, a toolbar item will get that magical on command set. Okay. So if command is set, here's what we're going to do. If help menu pop up item that has attribute command, or if attribute equals command. Now, how are we going to do this? So here's the case. Sometimes on command is set in the document markup, in which case we do want to make sure that they match. In the event that command is set, we want to make sure that the cloned item has on command set to be the... Okay, here's what we're going to do. If attribute equals on command. If the cloned element, if the original element had a command attribute set, then the cloned attribute, the cloned element will have its on command attribute set to be the on command attribute set to equal the on command attribute of the command pointed to via the command attribute. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to check if we're in the on command state. We're going to check to see if help menu pop-up item dot has attribute command, then we will let command node equal document get element by ID assert dot equal command node get attribute on command and app menu help item dot get attribute on command. On command was properly forwarded, properly cloned. I guess that's what we'll do. Command node is null. Oh, sorry, not has attribute, get attribute. Good. Okay, so we are now passing. So the cloning is working properly. And now we make sure that the strings are there. And they're not going to be, but then we do our string cloning part. And then we can probably call this episode done. So what we're going to do is we're going to just hand clone these strings right now. And then we're going to write a migration for it. So these strings, where are they? Well, we saw a couple of them. Menu help product is one of them. They'll probably be in a big row here. I have a feeling it's all of these. Data L10N ID menu. I don't know if we need menu dash help. Just the help menu. Because I believe the app menu, what's it using? For the help item. I'm going to show you a trick. Disable pop-up auto hide from this meatball menu. If I turn that on, then I can open up this panel and it will stay open while I inspect it. Very handy. The data L10N ID. Oh, we're using an L10 a DTD. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, app menu help label. Okay. Well, let's not worry about that then. But the rest of this junk, we want it. So what we're going to do is over in app menu, let's say help menu, help panel. And then we'll say app menu. We'll just prefix all of these with the word app. And now if we run this, we build and then we run, we should see strings under help. Yes, we do. Those are our cloned strings. And now we should be able to run our test. And it shouldn't fail now. Oh, it did. App menu has app prefix. App menu help product. Missing translation. Menu help product. Oh, so we caught one. Where's menu help product? Help. Is there, did I skip one? App menu help product is right here. Missing translations in ENUS. Oh, right. Sorry. We need to do the app part. And then an exception was thrown, so we didn't do the rest of them. So let's... We didn't actually do the app menu strings. So now, let's take a quick peek. And we'll know what I'll do after this is I'll show that we can now sentence case these things independently of these strings. That might help kind of illustrate what we've just done. So if I go to appmenu.ftl now and I say lowercase h here, lowercase t here, and I'll do troubleshooting information. I'll also do submit feedback. I'll just do them all, just for now. Add-ons disabled, just so we can see what it's going to look like. Start add-ons, deceptive site. This isn't a deceptive site. Okay. So if I've done my job right, Yeah, these are all in, well, import from another browser, isn't? That's interesting. Where's that coming from? I'm gonna have, oh, this one, I missed one. Import from another browser, but this one, they're all still in title case. Hooray, we did it. Okay, now I don't actually want to change the casing just yet. Like I said, I'm doing the forking first. That's to make it so that we can change the casing all at the same time. But now this test should probably pass. The last step is to write the migration, and then we might actually have a patch that we can put up. Reference unknown term, brand shorter name. Oh, right. We need to include brand.ftl. Huzzah, says Smurfd. I agree. Branding. Let's run it again. It's so complicated. Such a complicated series of steps just to do some string manipulation, eh? But, you know, gotta do it right. Gotta do it right and with certainty, and to prevent people from making mistakes in the future. That we spend most of our time on this test, I'd say, and I think that'll be worth it. You want to avoid, if where possible, you want to make it really hard for people in the future to not follow the convention that you're setting up by accident. In fact, let's just test that right now. Let's try and add an item to the help menu. Where is it? Panel. How's our menu bar? Let's add an item. I'll just call it like my new item on command. Alert. Hello. No on click, and then I'm gonna add a data L10N my new item. Okay, so I'm going to add that to menu bar.ftl. Yeah. Menu help my new item equals dot label what up, folks. So let's make sure that is the ID. No, I got it wrong. It's this menu help my new item. Okay, so I'm gonna build that. This is the perfect example I should share to people who think it's easy to add a minor change in Firefox. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe there was it's easy to change strings. Like, I could have changed those strings instantly, but everything, like, there's coupling between, you know, various parts of the browser that you have to, like, snip carefully, and then prevent. So I've got my string here. What up, folks? And then over here, I should have under help. Well, yeah, it's broken. You know, the item's not there, but let's pretend I didn't notice. Now, what up, folks? Okay, so now I'm going to run the test, and hopefully it will break. But you're absolutely right, Danny Colin. Something that seems simple. Oh, why can't you just? Why can't you just? You know, a lot of thought has to go into it. Good. Okay. Explosion. That's what we want. So we're going to remove that item now. Don't need it anymore. We're going to remove the string. But we've made it so that it's really hard now. It'll be really hard to accidentally add an item. So that's good. Now for the migration part. And then I think we can call this episode done. So writing a migration is pretty straightforward. The way you want to do it, there's a special folder for them. Python L10N Fluent Migrations, and then You create a file. So in this case, I'm going to create a file. The convention is like you name it after the bug that you're working on. So I'm going to touch a file, Fluent Migrations bug. Actually, I can just do Sublime. I'll say forking help string help menu. Okay. And then I'm also going to open up one of the previous ones. So, because I'm going to copy a bunch of the boilerplate. I'll actually copy this entire thing. And so the boilerplate, the way it works is you get the commit message for the repository, the localization repository actually goes in this comment. So fork the help menu strings for use in the app menu. And we're going to be doing this inside of browser app menu, I believe. .ftl. Is that the path? Browser app menu? Just browser app menu. Oh, no. It is browser app menu. I don't know why that there's that extra browser at the beginning. Don't ask me. But we're pulling in all of the we're pulling in the original strings from menu bar. So we'll do that. Sweet. The way you do this is you're creating a machine. You're creating a set of instructions for how you add those strings in different repositories, like localization builds of Firefox. So in this case, what we're doing is we're going to be updating app menu. Where is app menu? App menu. To include all of these things. Some of them are easier than others, I realize, because we got brand shorter name in there. But some of them are straight copies. So let's do the straight copies first. I wish I hadn't closed. Oh, good. I've got an example here. Copy pattern is what we want. Copy pattern, and you're going to tell it copy from the menu bar item of this name. So in this case, import from another browser. I mean, we're using the convention. This will be very straightforward. I'm just going to copy that into here. And same with copy pattern. Dot label, copy pattern, help import from another browser, dot access key. We can do that for a bunch of these. So there's probably a way I can macro this, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna snip, schloop. Troubleshooting information is next. And then take that and put it here. You know, maybe that's the first step. That's what I'll do to optimize this, is I'll copy this first one, and then I'll put it here, and then I'll copy this, and I'll put it here, and then I'll copy this, and I'll put it here, and then I'll write access key. That's probably how you can macro this, but I've not figured out Sublime macros yet. So I apologize for the folks at home who are like, you could just macro this. Yes, I could. I know. Relax. I'm gonna copy that. label, and then access key. Almost there. Now I'm actually very curious about what we're going to do about these ones with brand shorter name. I'm not entirely certain you can just straight up copy them with copy pattern. Maybe you can, in which case this is going to be very easy. If not, then we're going to have to do something a little more special. Almost there. So copy that, and then in here, and then now brand shorter name. Let's try the easy thing. What happens if I just say take the pattern from app menu help product label? Is this going to work? This is the part that might fall over. Sorry, not app menu, just menu. And then take the access key as well. And then same thing for over here. This is where we might fall over. Help show tour. Okay, and how we check is we run a test. So thankfully our Fluent stuff, our Fluent migrations, there's a command called mock Fluent migration test, which will run the tests to see whether or not the Fluent migration makes sense, whether or not it will. So what it will do is it will try and like produce an English translation and compare the results with the hand translation I've done over in appmenu.ftl. It will apply it to the old English translation and see if it works, if that makes any sense. Bug 1683419 forking app menu. Okay, doesn't like it. Why not? What? Did not like it for some reason. While trying to talk to Mercurial. Abort. At least one file name or pattern required. Oh, it's possible I have to add this to the change that I'm working on. Like I need to create a commit. Ooh, I can get rid of that, some of this stuff. Panel UI.js. Get rid of this. And get rid of the dump down here. And our test. And then get rid of this here. Fork help menu strings for use in the app menu. Okay. Let's see. Now that I've done that, let's try and run our Fluent migration test. Still doesn't like it. What's going on here? Fluent migration browser, running migration. Did I? do this wrong? Let's run a different one. 1682022. Just gonna see if it's successful. See, that one actually works. Why does this one not work? At least one file name or pattern is required. I wonder if it's related to our these two that are, you know, that were risky. Let's take these out for a second. Command error 255. When we are trying to create the blame, at least one file name or pattern is required. Did I get some part of this wrong? Browser, app menu. From path. Maybe I got one of the browser menu bar.ftl. I think I got that right. Python, Altman, Fluent, migrations, menu bar.ftl. Browser menu bar, yeah. Path is right. Okay, well, in this case, what I tend to do, let's shrink this down to the smallest set possible. Let's just pass nothing. And see what it thinks of it. Oh. Let's also quickly build, just in case. And then if I'm not able to sort this out in the next minute or so, I'm going to cap it there. I might have to tinker with it or talk to someone from our localization team just to, you know, sort out what's going on here. Can't land this without the migration. We do not want to make our localizers have to retranslate all these things. That is a disaster. Yeah, what's going on here? So reference directory, forking help menu, reference, localization dir, help menu, EAS, dry run, run code, JSON raw command, at least one file name or pattern is required from hglib when we try and run the command. What's the command it's trying to run? Let's see if we can figure that out. Fluent migrate blame 26. Blame Jason. Print F args. Actually, debugger. Import pdb set trace. This is what I like to do. I can hit a Python breakpoint. Okay. Oh shoot. Oh no. Okay. Sorry. I can't hit a breakpoint there. It's not going to show what's happening. How do I make it log? Whenever it does it correctly, how does it write? It says writing to committing change set. How is it doing it? Probably with the logging module. No, it's just doing like print. Okay. Okay. In that case, print it is. Print it is. Args are for arg in args. There's probably a better way of doing this. Just gotta put my brain into Python mode for a second. All right. Let's see. Wajama asks, do you know to code in assembly x86? It's been a long time. Bad syntax? What are you talking about? What do you not like about that? Have I forgotten how to write Python? Print. Or does it... Is it strict enough that it wants like single colon or single quotes? Or is print isn't something that like defines itself, is it? Print. Like if I do print test, yeah, it's just a built-in, right? Yeah. Wajama asks, I'm looking for someone to do my exercises. For school? Get out of here. I'm not doing your schoolwork. Get out of here. Maybe it doesn't like maybe it doesn't like my \n. Python print new line. Right. Oh, do I have to print test? No, that works. What's your problem? Is this a different version of Python that it's using? Maybe Python 3 is different? Python. Which Python is this? Python 3.9. Python 3.9. Print test. No, still likes it. What's your problem? What's your problem? All right, well, let's not do the new line. I'll do a space. Wait, did I accidentally get rid of a... Oh, that's what... I got rid of a parentheses. I thought I was losing my mind here. Okay, so it's complaining because I accidentally got rid of parentheses. All right. I'm like, I know how to print a string in Python. Like, this is not rocket science. Okay, so it says args are annotate, template, JSON, date, user, and then CWD, current working directory. And then Mercurial complains, hey, at least one file name or pattern is required. Okay, now let's run one that works and see what's different. So then there are a bunch of other things that get passed in. The name of a directory, the name of a DTD, the name of an FTL. So these three things are what we're missing. Wait. No, we supply the first one. We don't supply the other two. DTD, FTL. Where are those coming from? NUS, DTD, FTL. Where are those coming from? So those arguments, if we trace back, command builder, file paths, annotate, command self client root. Is it this for P and file paths? Annotate. Okay, let's enough using Vim. I've got this enough that I've had it open enough that I think it's important to have it here. So for path in file paths, print file path. Okay. Print number of file paths. Just in case there are none. Two, DTD and FTL. Right. And now we run our own. Zero. Number of file paths is 0. So something about my Python script is off. Let's take a close look. The one that's correct is passing in browser.dte and browser.ftl. Right? It's passing in browser.dtd and sorry, menubar.ftl. Browser.dtd, menubar.ftl. That's these from paths. So I do have from path defined here. Browser menubar.ftl. Am I doing that wrong? Let's take a closer look. So here's a transform. Let's copy this in. Transforms from a string from path. Like what happens if I just like replace this? Let's just get rid of this. Replace it wholesale with this thing from one that works. Yeah, so it works properly. So something's wrong with... Okay, let me just start slowly transforming this into the one that I've got up here. Like, let's do it that way. So, app menu, app menu. File path, menu bar.ftl. Okay, now let's get rid of that. Okay, so that's the problem. It's because it's the empty string. So let's put in a single pattern. Okay. Okay, so that's the problem, is because it was empty before. So let's now add one of these. Let's add these two. Don't need the comment. Pattern. Am I just using copy pattern wrong? Copy pattern. Oh, that's why. I figured it out. I figured it out, everyone. I figured it out. There's an argument that the first argument to copy pattern is from path for some reason, and I wasn't including it. Or no, I haven't figured it out. I haven't figured it out, everyone. Bail out, bail out. I haven't figured it out. Sorry, I thought I figured it out. I have not figured it out. No, I have figured it out. I have figured it out. I have figured it out, everyone. Check it out. Here's the difference. There are curly braces around copy pattern. There are curly braces that I'm not including. That's the difference. That's the difference. I screwed up, everyone. I screwed up. Got to wrap it in curlies. Got to wrap it in curlies, everyone. I screwed up. All right. Let's see if this runs. I gotta play a sound effect for that. Yay. Okay, now it's complaining that a bunch of migrations aren't included, but we got it. We figured it out. Sorry, burned like 20 minutes figuring that out. But we figured it out, everyone. And with that, I think I'm gonna close out here. Or not. Let's just do this real quick. Let's just migrate the rest of these real quick and see what happens. So, let's see. Let's put these in here. Let's wrap all of these in parentheses. These first two might be the danger ones that aren't going to work properly because they have interpolation built in. But who knows? Maybe it will copy that interpolation. That'd be really nice. I wouldn't hold my breath, but maybe. Again, I could be macroing this right now. I realize people out here who are watching this video are like, why? Why is this taking so long? You got all these Vim tools. You've got all these keyboard shortcuts you could use. Yeah, but, you know, take it easy. Relax. I'm almost done. The time it would take me to learn those, like, yeah, there's an upfront cost, and it would save me time in the long run, but I don't know. Okay, let's try this out. Okay. This actually worked. The things that it's complaining about are due to the fact that I have based this off of a patch that tries to use sentence casing. Let me look at the diff here. Hold on. We're going to get rid of this change. Don't need that anymore. We're going to fold this in. We're going to rebase it. We're going to amend our change. Then we're going to rebase it on this change down here where we haven't switched to using sentence casing. And I think that'll work. And then I can put that up for review. And I'll feel pretty good about that. Hey, but while this is happening, I just want to do a quick shout out. Thank you so much for watching The Joy of Coding. I hope this has been somewhat useful or enjoyable. You watched me struggle through all this stuff. I've been working on this for years, but I still struggle for sure. Rebase our tip to that. Let's hope it bases cleanly. Yes, okay. And now we'll change up to it. Thank you so much for watching The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought of this episode. You can fill out this form. If you go to the agenda, for which I gave the link at the very beginning of the episode, but again, it's in the video description or it's in the Twitch chat. It's also in the, I'll drop it in the Twitch chat again. Why not? The agenda again. There is a smash that form here to let me know what you thought. Rate the episode. Let me know what you thought. Was this interesting? I struggled a lot, but I think the feedback I get is that like whenever I struggle is where the good stuff is. So let me know what you thought. I'd love to hear from you. Right. So these changes it's complaining about are because of unrelated things, because of this patch that actually just recently landed. So otherwise we're good. We're in good shape. So that makes me feel really good. I think we're done here. I'm going to put this up for review shortly, but I'm going to cap the stream. Hey, we did it. We actually did a thing. We forked the strings from help menu, and we're ready to put them into sentence case when the time comes. So thank you so much for watching episode 236 of The Joy of Coding. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Let me just switch to my... No, don't open Joplin. No! Let me switch to my camera. Thanks again. Have yourselves a great week. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. See ya.